Are historical and intergenerational traumas their own separate category, or do they belong in either shock or childhood developmental trauma? In some way, they're their own categories, but they show up in the present moment in developmental kind of patterns. I do a type of somatic relational work. I'm not so interested in the story. The story is not the most important part in healing trauma. It may be important to go back to the story to access some of the energy, if you will, because trauma in some way is this energy locked in the body, right? But what's most important is that you're working with the present moment because whatever is in the past is here. That's that's just obvious, right? To anyone that works with trauma, whatever is in the past, however long ago, it's showing up right now. It's showing up today with you and your at work or at home with the children. It's showing up. Everything's relational. Our whole existence is relational. Ad-dinu mu'amala. The deen is relationships. The whole deen is relation. That's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's most comprehensive in speech. He just said the whole deen is blank, and whatever that is a reality. Ad-dinu mu'amala. He also said dinu nasiha. Deen is good consultation, sincere consultation, sincere advice. So the deen, the whole deen is giving good advice, and the whole deen is relationships. So yes, our relationships with the natural world, our relationship with the land, all of that. Whether it's settler colonialism or big multinational organizations in your own country, poisoning the water and spraying pesticides on the crops and stuff like that. All of that disturbs the relationship we have with land. I mean, here in America, no one's colonizing us right now, but we have a horrible relationship with the land. Horrible, right? So there's a lot of different ways that we get colonized. But ultimately, again, despite all these different negative influences in the world, you have the power to retain your own integrity. And that's what this work is about. That's what Islam is about. No matter what's happening out there, you can heal and be well yourself. And you do that, and you do that, and you do that, and there's a critical mass, and all of a sudden the world changes. Right? Because we live in a story of interconnectedness. So if everyone starts doing their role, not necessarily just in activism and raising awareness, that's good. But that in the absence of the real work, which is becoming embodied in the heart, which is the only real work there is, it's not going to shift anything, you know. It's not going to shift the essential reality of and the condition of the world. It's always been internal. It has to be. We have to heal so that we can come back more fully to Allah Ta'ala. And that's how things shift. How we process trauma has to do with being able to connect with the trauma, to meet the trauma. Because again, the trauma is not the story, right? So if you had, for example, a difficult childhood experience that has caused you to feel like you can't make decisions in your life, for example, you're going to keep finding that dynamic shows up again and again and again in your life. That you'll come to a crossroads and be like, oh, I don't know, do I take this new job? Do I have to move if I do? I have it really good here, but there's something really promising over there. Life is going to change. I don't know if I can. Am I worthy? Am I going to fail? But I can't do it, because there's a story about failure and not being good enough and all this stuff. And so it's being able to come into that and recognizing the pattern and feeling the shame or feeling the anger or feeling whatever. And then if there's images and if there's things that have to be said or some sort of emotional expression or something that comes out of that to allow that to happen, right? There's going to be a type of unraveling that happens in the body, in the imagination. And so having someone that can kind of hold all the different levels of your process is important because, otherwise you get people that are really somatically oriented. They'll just focus on body movements basically and sensations. and they can miss a lot. And then same way you can get someone who's like a CBT oriented person who's only really worried with the story and the beliefs and the identifications and not really working with the body and the emotions and the relationships and the images and the imaginal and the dreams and stuff like that. And they're not getting a sense of the whole that way either. So everyone kind of tends to diminish and reduce the spectrum of experience, but the soul is going to do what it has to do. And it's going to intuitively just be able to unravel itself as you create the space for it. And what I find to be really important for the process is having someone with you. It's difficult to do your own work by yourself. Very difficult. Even people like me who do this for a living every day for years, I can't do my own work myself. I mean, there's some modicum of, upkeep, obviously, and awareness of myself that I can do. But if I want to do a deeper session, if I need something to be processed, I have to go to somebody, right? Someone holding space for me is really important. And that's the same for, I think, many healers that are in the space. You can't do it yourself. So there's a type of, need for a healthy, safe relationship. If the trauma was relational, which it usually is, it's a relationship that heals it, right? The wound was caused, the lesion was relational, then the healing has to be relational as well.